So I know it's October and I'm supposed to be watching a lot of like Halloween kind of stuff, but whatever. I was in the mood to continue my recent revisits to the original Star Trek movies. And I got stuck a couple of months ago on Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. This is our impressive, our meaning, I guess mine and my brother's. This is his copy. Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, because for some reason, Star Trek 4 is not showing on any of the streaming services, Netflix, Prime, or whatever. The other ones are. So I guess there's some kind of rights issue that is a little more expensive with that movie. I don't know. Maybe SeaWorld threw some fit or something, or everyone's like really freaked out about political agendas with, freeing Willie kind of stuff because of all the recent uproar in recent years about captivity of water creatures. Anyway, not getting into any of that because this movie clearly does a good job of that. However, I did want to share my wild thoughts on Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. Oh no, my timer is already half going. Whatever. So just very quickly, I just think this is a really good movie. It's a lot of fun, but to me, a lot of people always praise this as like the greatest Star Trek movie of all time. And I think that's wrong. I know a lot of people, equally praise for good merit Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. To me, that is the best Star Trek movie. And I love the 2009 Star Trek. It's a whole different thing. But if we're just going with the classic movies, I like very much The Wrath of Khan. This movie feels more like it's a fan film. And it feels like a movie that it's like a bunch of fans were like, oh, wouldn't it be hilarious if like the Enterprise crew was like in our time and had to interact with people and have that whole literal fish out of water story. And it would be so funny watching them bumble around and not know, how to use money and, how to talk to people and stuff like that. Well, that's all this was. It felt like they did that, and it was hilarious, and it was well written, and it was performed and shot, humorously. But then you get to the part with all the story and the action and all the good stuff with the ship, and that's the stuff that's like a good movie. So it feels like the first like 5 minutes and the last like 15 minutes is really solid. The rest of it, I don't feel like it's a good movie. It's just a good fun parody of a Star Trek movie. And a lot of people are going to think I'm sacrilegious for that. I have fond memories of this movie as a kid. My mother and my cousins and family members that really loved this movie, and I remember watching it more often. I couldn't tell you anything about the other Star Trek movies from through my childhood, but I could this one. That being said, it's been a really long time since I've seen it. Here's what I really liked about it. I'm going to flip this and I'll go halfway through, and that'll be my time. I really like the music during the action sequences, and especially at the end, spoiler alert, when the whales are trying to communicate with the probe. It's really cool that they didn't really have like a lot of music going on right now or right then. One of the most important things about a score in a movie is not just, what music to play, but when not to play music. That was a really good time to not play music because you could hear the whales underneath the water, and they're moaning, and before they started, singing and interacting with the probe, there was that dead silence for a little while where you didn't know if it was going to work. That worked really well because you already had the action sequence of Kirk getting them out of the cargo hold that you could have just ended right there with they got there and it was a big triumphant communication. The probe just takes off. But they didn't do that. They stopped to let these mammals just kind of drift in the water that you didn't know if it was going to be all for naught. And that was good. It kind of left a little levity, a little tension right there at the end. I think that was really effective. And then it was followed with their playing on the deck on the hull of the bow of the ship in water, even though I don't know why this giant hulking piece of metal wasn't just sinking quickly to the bottom of the ocean, but whatever. That shot is iconic, and I had forgotten about that shot of the crew just lined up, half out of water as the ship was finishing its mission before before it sank, before they started playing in the water with the whales. I thought that was really cool, and I remember that as it was building up to that scene, I was like, oh, I remember this part coming up. I really thought it was strong. And then cuts right to their court-martialing, the final conclusion of their court-martialing, where they have a lot of cool creatures, by the way. If you go back and watch those sequence of Starfleet in these movies, the aliens and the creature work was really good, really creative and imaginative. I think we kind of forget sometimes how good the Star Trek aliens were when we compare it to like Star Wars, things like that. Anyway, other strengths about the movie. The script is fun. Spock did had some really good insights. It was fun watching his character transition, especially with his interactions with McCoy and Kirk. I almost said Picard. But his trying to remember things and connect back to himself before his death and resurrection, I guess. Really good. That stuff was good. The character stuff was good. The Doctor and all that stuff, I remember that being a lot better, a lot more interesting. I remember Kirk. I don't know. I just remember a lot more tension, even with Chekhov being hurt. I remember that harassment with him, being Russian and everything. I remember that being a much bigger deal, but it wasn't. It was good. It's a fun movie, fun revisit. I went over time. If you haven't seen Star Trek in a while, Star Trek 4, go back and rewatch it. But honestly, it's just a fun fan favorite. But I think that very much so for many, many reasons, especially visuals, direction, acting, tension, the stakes, and the score and the cinematography. The Wrath of Khan is far better than The Voyage Home. But this is fun. It's all it was fun. Anything else I missed I really want to talk about, even though my time's up? The creatures, the music was good, script, the ship was cool. Oh, the poaching scene. That part, I forgot how good that was when they were coming in. With the whaling ship was coming up to the poachers were coming up on Will and Grace. Is that who it was? Yeah. George and Gracie. They Will and Grace. It was like a decade and a half too late for that, or too early for that. Anyway, when the whaler ship was coming in, and then they shot the harpoon and it like hit the hull of the ship while it was invisible. That was really, I remember that as a kid that was going to happen, but it was really cool how they did it. And when that ship came out of cloaking, hovering over the water, like barely over the water in front of that little ship, and the ship's like trying to spin around, that was so good. And I'm sorry, the bird of prey, the Klingon bird of prey, is like the best and most scary ship for that moment. It was really cool that happened to be the ship that they were in, to have that kind of I don't know, a threat or a visual for those poachers. That was kind of cool. I forgot how good that was when it comes out of the cloaking and it's like right on them. The other thing I was going to mention, I know I'm way over my time. I'm trying to keep these really short. What was it? The whaling ship, them coming out. I'm not going to edit this out. You'll just have to bear with my my stupor of thought here. Them coming out at the the reveal of the Enterprise. I kind of, not like crying, but I got a little bit emotional. The little musical stings and their conversations when they're being reassigned. Kirk was demoted to captain, and then he was the crew was on their little shuttle going to their new assignment, and they went past whatever the other ship, the Excelsior or whatever, and came over the bow of the ship, and there was the new Enterprise, and they just lit up, and there's this very warm feeling. Them all kind of huddled together in this cramped little space, just kind of clenching on each other's shoulders and things. It was a beautiful moment, and the music and everything's really good. I know that was one thing everyone loved about these movies, was seeing the Enterprise in a better budget with long glory shots up on the big screen. I can see that appreciation from shots or moments like that in the movies. That's it. Way over time, but Star Trek: The Voyage Home. Definitely go see it in the theaters. It's a good movie. It's fun, but The Wrath of Khan is just that is perfect. Perfect? I'd have to rewatch it. It's really good. Anyway, it was fun. now I can go back to watching some more October-ish movies now that I got that on my system. Okay. Anyway, thanks, guys. See ya.